Not every day you see a 6-speed manual transmission in a pickup truck. Today we're reviewing the 2022 TRD PRO Tacoma in this metallic electric lime color. Let's have some fun with this. For 2022, the Tacoma got some awesome updates. I already mentioned the electric lime paint color. We have so many cool things that Toyota has done to this pickup truck. I mean, let's just start with the headlights. You see Pro laid into the headlight. You also have the Heritage Toyota grille. You have the awesome, not only a hood scoop, TRD PRO with this decal that has topography on it. Not sure where that is, if that's even a real map. You also have the Rigid Industries, beautiful fog lights on the front. We have brand new TRD 16-inch wheels. You also have forged aluminum upper control arms with the 2.5-inch Fox internal bypass shocks from the side profile. Tacoma looks awesome. We have a 1.5-inch lift in the front, a 1/2-inch lift in the rear. Underneath the side panel here, I guess you could say the bed panel, rear quarter panel, we have the awesome TRD tipped catback exhaust. Now, in the 4Runner TRD Pro, I thought that was really droney. That's not the case here. This is a really good sounding tip, and TRD Pro stamped into the side here. TRD Pro blacked out. Of course, we have the hitch here. Tacoma stamped into the tailgate. Lower this down. You also have lights at the top with that automatic sliding rear window. If you wanted to shine lights down into here, you also have this plug in here. And this thing is just an awesome looking pickup truck. I've gotten more looks in this truck than I think I even got in the Integra that I had last week. Like this thing, I think it's the paint color because I was in like a gray color last week with the Integra, and this thing just looks so eye-catching. I don't know if I would get it in this color, but if you're getting a TRD Pro, you pretty much should get that exclusive TRD color for that year, so why not? Underneath the hood, the tried and true, the 3.5-liter V6. We have 278 horsepower and a little bit over 260 pound-feet of torque. We'll talk about what could be replacing this engine later on in this video with the next generation Tacoma. Of course, this is made into the 6-speed manual that I opened the video with, and man, it's a good one. Now, getting on the inside of the Tacoma, we have TRD Pro seats. They're actually really comfortable. Slamming the door, it's pretty solid. Everything in here is very well put together. When I'm driving, I don't hear any rattles or creaks or anything like that. Materials are okay. It doesn't sound like it's cheap when you drive it. It feels very insulated. Here's a nice little, actually it's pretty big, the glove box here. Check out this storage container. We have a safe, and it is sturdy. Like, this thing feels like it's solid metal construction. It's pretty cool. I got to bring up the technology in here real quick because while not as dated as the 4Runner, it's still a little bit dated in here, even though I appreciate, you know, the functionality of the climate control knobs and the volume and tuning knobs. The screen's very low resolution. We only have one USB port in the entire vehicle. You could still plug in accessory power if you wanted to. You also have a wireless charger that I just leave off, but actually does a good job charging my phone. If I need to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I have to have it plugged in. So having this wireless charger is almost pointless if you use your phone's interface. And this is also your button to slide the window back and forth. I love that feature. In the Tundra, it slides all the way down like a normal window. We have a 360 camera on here as well. Low resolution, but more importantly, it gets a job done. It gives you a good idea of what's around the vehicle. Now, what would be a lot better in this vehicle if it had an underbody camera like we have in the new Tundra TRD Pro, for example. So that will be coming in the next generation. Here's the switches for that rear bed light I mentioned earlier. Here's your AC power to the bed, for example. Steering wheel is super comfortable, very basic. I really wouldn't change anything about it. I got my presets over here, volume over here, and I can thumb through the tiny MID on this end. You can see my fuel economy is not great. In the mid-teens, low teens, I guess, low teens. I've only been driving it in city, but I still love the traditional tachometer. And man, this engine is very slow revving. It feels so much different in here compared to, let's say, like the TRD, because we're talking about TRD, right? The TRD Avalon. This engine feels completely different. The character is completely different in this truck. Now, your 4-wheel drive control, which we're not going to be doing today. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be off-roading this. I'm closer to putting this thing into the water than having some fun off-road trails around me. If I wanted to put it in 4 high or 4 low, it tells me that it's switching into it. It's locked in now, so you have that little light there. Put it into 4 low. I have all this extra notifications going on, but I'm just going to flip it back into 2-wheel drive, which it forces me to go into 4 high before it lets me switch it into 2-wheel drive. Now the back seat's quite strange because even though you can fold this forward and mess with the headrest, I still wasn't able to get these seats to fold all the way down, even though this is kind of like a sturdy back end and I do have some storage in here. I just wasn't able to fold these seats all the way down. Even if you flip this up, I still couldn't do it. So not sure what I'm missing there. I didn't even realize this was here, but yeah, you have some under seat storage that I missed earlier with the B-roll. Now it's tight back here, really tight. Now this seat is set up for me at 6'1". I pretty much, at least it's soft back, right? This leather is nice and soft. At least I have that, but not a lot of space. I have these floor mats that are rugged. They match the TRD mats up front. 1 mat pocket in the rear. No connectivity, no vents, no USB ports. At least I have some cup holders. So I can put my battery bank. I guess I can put my battery bank over here to charge my drive cam. No fold down armrest or anything like that. So it is pretty basic back here, but at least I have a sunroof I can look up if I want to. Also, headroom is surprisingly good. I probably have a couple inches left. It kind of indents. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I love that the handbrake is right where it should be, next to the shifter. No electronic malarkey going on here. I have a real handbrake in a really functional position. Perfect for a manual. And man, this is such a pleasant manual to drive. I do have really long throws of the shifter, but I feel like it's perfect for a pickup truck. I wouldn't want something like this in a smaller vehicle like a Corolla. Even though the Corolla actually has fairly long throws for a small car, they are discontinuing the manual transmission in the Corolla hatchback, unless you get the GR Corolla, which is going to be fairly hard to get, as we can imagine. But I still can't believe Toyota has a 6-speed manual in their pickup truck, because if you look at Nissan, the Frontier, one of its greatest rivals to this vehicle, they got rid of that. There's a 9-speed in there. It's really good. And let's just go back to this manual. The clutch in here has a long travel to it, but has a ton of feedback, and it's pretty heavy as well, which you want in a heavy duty truck. The clutch feel gives you so much confidence when you're shifting. You can feel exactly what's going on in the friction zone. It doesn't feel like it drops off at any point. It's just super well done, this manual, and it makes me very, oh, yep, don't walk into the roundabout, lady. God, that roundabout's always like entertainment. But we can just rev this out a little bit. It doesn't, that's the highest I've ever revved this engine. Like, this engine feels like it's happy around like 2,000 to 3,000 RPM. I never feel like I want to stress it. That's just the character, not maybe of the engine, but also the manual. It just seems to want to hang out in low revs, and that's perfectly okay. I know that the torque on paper doesn't, say a whole lot. It's around like 268 pound-feet, I believe. But I'm telling you, like, it feels a lot more torquey and a lot more substantial on the low end, probably because of the gearing in this vehicle, which I'm not going to go into, but it just feels very stout and happy down low in the rev ranges. I haven't even come close to killing this vehicle once. It's just super easy and smooth between gears. Like, I absolutely love this manual. Now, would I be getting the manual if I'm getting a Tacoma? And I think the answer is, it depends. How this setup is, it's very laid back. I wouldn't want to drive this in cities, and that's where I'm driving it right now. This setup does not feel like it wants to be hustled. It wants you to take its time. So if I lived out in the country, if I lived in a really small town, less than probably 20,000 people or something, if I didn't have to be in the city all the time, I would get the manual. But if I have mostly city driving, I'd be getting the 6-speed automatic transmission. I think both of them are great options. This one is a lot better than I was expecting, and it is, like I said, an absolute joy to drive. The feel of the shifter is phenomenal. It's nice. It's huge, by the way. And I like how there's a little hook on the front end, so my fingers have a great grip on it when I'm sliding it into second, into fourth, into sixth gear. I haven't been doing a whole lot of like rev matching downshifts, but there's third gear, and of course it's not going to be auto rev matching. I wouldn't be rev matching this thing in the downshifts often. The throws are really long. It just doesn't seem practical to me. Maybe if I was towing, if I needed extra engine braking or something like that. But otherwise, I would just be popping it into neutral. The braking feel, by the way, is really good in here. Nice and predictable and linear with a strong pedal feel to it. Has a good resistance in the pedal. Now, I mentioned how great the shifter feels in my hand when I'm shifting, especially from first to second to the even gears, essentially, because I have that hook up here. But when I'm just resting my arm on the shifter, my elbow is perfectly sitting on the armrest here. The WRX, I think, was the last manual I was in that didn't have like elbow support for your shifting elbow, which made no sense to me. So I love that the Tacoma is well set up for just a comfortable experience, even if you have to put in a little extra work with the manual versus the automatic. We're gonna get on the highway here. Technically this is a highway, Tamiami Trail, US 41. I'm gonna accelerate in third gear here. I'm pedal down right now. I was in a very low RPM. Like I said, that's where this engine likes to hang out. And that was about 60 right there. Like, I can't imagine what the 0 to 60 is on this vehicle. I'm sure it's much faster in the automatic trim just because you have such long throws in this truck. But like I said, this vehicle is not about acceleration. It's about enjoyment with this manual, and just makes me happy when I get to drive it. It's so easy to drive smooth like the Corolla was. And I know they're completely different vehicles, but that sort of smoothness has remained a constant in Toyota's manual transmission lineup. And I can't wait to drive the GR Corolla to see if that same sort of smoothness is there. I doubt it, because that is a much more performance-minded vehicle, but it'll be fun to see. All right, let's talk about the ride in here. The ride quality is excellent. I mean, this thing is actually on the stiffer end, which doesn't surprise me, is that it needs to be able to handle crazy terrain. It's really quiet in here. Like I said, there's no rattles, creaks, anything going on that's distracting. It feels, it's a bit strange. It almost feels a bit Subaru-like, but way higher and much heavier than a Subaru. Now, would I recommend the TRD Pro if you are doing off-roading? It's absolutely going to handle the job, no problem. I mean, with the increased ride height and everything, the off-roading angles are a lot better in this 2022 update. But if you wanted to save a little bit of money and put on your own mods, you could always get the TRD off-road instead of the TRD Pro. It's not going to look maybe as incredible as this one does, but it's still, I mean, it's a great template to build on, absolutely. So maybe TRD off-road if you wanted to customize it a little bit more, but if you just wanted something from the factory that has incredible off-road performance, but more importantly, most people are just buying this truck to drive on-road, I would say. That's the majority of any off-road vehicle I see on-road. People are just driving them on-road, like all the Wranglers out there, all the Broncos, all the Tacomas. 95% or more mainly stay on the tarmac, the cement, the mall crawlers per se. So if you don't want to mod your Tacoma out and you just want to have one badass looking truck from the factory, the TRD Pro is a phenomenal option. And I'm just glad Toyota has lots of different flavors and trim levels for their pickup trucks, not only the Tacoma, but for the Tundra as well. Now, I've also driven the Frontier in the past year, two different models. One was the Pro 4X, and the other one was like a work truck with a long bed and 4 doors and very basic. I really like both of those trucks. It's just awesome to have really excellent, well-rounded trucks from Nissan and Toyota right now. I don't think you could go wrong with either. I'm not going to say which one is better. There are things that I like better about the Frontier, and then there are things I like better about this Tacoma. So pretty much whatever you can get a better deal on right now if you're in the market for a smaller pickup truck. So what's next for the Tacoma? Well, it's going to be on a new platform. It's going to be on the F platform that the new 4Runner will be on, the new Lexus GX, the Tundra's already on it, the Land Cruiser's already on, the Lexus LX is already on this global scalable F platform. So that'll be exciting. It's probably going to ditch the leaf springs for coil springs, and that's okay. I guess some people might be disappointed about that, but I think overall it's just going to help this vehicle even feel better on the road. Technology is going to be completely revamped. We'll have a much bigger screen in here. We might even get the 14-inch touchscreen. It would hurt if we lose these functional knobs down here. So hopefully we keep the functionality with the climate control in the new Tacoma. I would like, and there's a Tacoma right in front of me. I think this is like the second or third Tacoma that I've had in front of me since this review. I would like to see a hybrid option. I think that would set this car to a whole new level, this truck to a whole new level of desirability. Fuel economy, like I said, I'm getting about 15 miles per gallon in the city. And if we have a hybrid that can give us 50% better fuel economy in the city, so we're getting in the 20s, would be phenomenal. I mean, it's possible. I would even be upset if they gave us a similar hybrid powertrain to what's in the RAV4, 230 horsepower or so, and made it to the new 10-speed auto though, and that would be pretty fantastic. We will surely see the 2.4 liter turbo in this, probably replacing the V6. That seems to be the trend right now. And then we could also see another hybrid, which would be the 2.4 liter turbo with the hybrid system, probably in like the low to mid 300s of horsepower. If we look at the new Crown, the new RX, those have the turbo 4-cylinder, the hybrid system, but you have to realize those are using a front wheel drive based system. So we need a drive shaft to go to the rear wheels in a truck instead of an electric e-motor. Horsepower on a 2.4 turbo hybrid would probably be somewhere in, like, I'm gonna say 320 to 340 horsepower, lots of torque, maybe 20 to 25 miles per gallon. Look, that setup in the Crown is only getting like 28 miles per gallon or something, which is not that great. It's really about performance. So probably 25, 23 miles per gallon hybrid in this vehicle if you want the full fat turbo hybrid, but most people would be happy with the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated hybrid that would be getting us about 100 horsepower less, but you'd be getting, I don't know, 50% better fuel economy than maybe the turbo one. Maybe not that high, but yeah, I'll put the numbers up after crunching the fuel economy and whatnot. But I'm very excited for the new Tacoma. This one is pretty much perfect the way it is. Other than more connectivity in here, there's really nothing I can complain about, to be honest. Like, the engine feels great, transmission's great, ride quality is excellent. Could be a little bit smoother with coil springs in the back, the next generation, but yeah, I'm more than happy with how this truck feels and rides. But I'm gonna end there. What are your questions about the TRD Pro Tacoma? This vehicle's been out, I guess, since like around 2016, so we're ready for that redesign. But hell, if this vehicle wanted to stick around for a few more years, I think the market would be more than happy to have this truck around. But all I really want is, some more fuel efficient options. But thank God we have a manual transmission in the Tacoma. Who knows if we're going to be getting it in the next gen. I'm not going to get my hopes up for it, to be honest. So anyways, I got to cut myself off. Thank you guys so much for watching. Got to try to downshift a little bit into third gear there, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Definitely stay tuned for more Toyota news updates, and subscribe if you're not, because anything I hear on the next gen Tacoma, I will give you guys that information first on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Deuces.